Welcome to my video on the multiplication of complex numbers, part 2, the product of a monomial and a binomial. These products that we're looking at here for multiplication is the same as when we multiplied polynomials. The only difference is you get powers of I. Simplify each as a plus bi. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4i is 8i. Done. I times 2 is 2i, and I times I is negative I. So 2i, but a negative I is negative 1. So negative 1 plus 2i. Notice you write it in the real part first and the imaginary second, so I just flipped it around. C, 3i times negative 7 is 21i. And negative 3i times positive 2i is a negative 6i squared. 21i is okay, but the I squared is a negative 1, so that's 21i plus 6. Negative 6 times negative 1, so that's 6 plus 21i. D, we have to simplify the insert inside first. Notice square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 25 is 5, and it's an I because it's negative. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 5i is 30i. Now that we've done, you work these out. When I say practice, you can pause the video and work out one at a time and check it back. Press play when you're finished to see if you're right. Here we go. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative 3 times 5i is negative 15i. 3i times negative 1 is negative 3i. 3i times negative 4i is a negative 12i squared. Notice you're multiplying that, and then that. That's the way I'm multiplying. Negative 3 times 4, and then I multiply negative 3 times 5i. And 3i is okay, but the I squared becomes negative 1. So that's negative 3i plus 12. And the real part goes first and the imaginary goes second. Notice that I squared is negative 1. So just to review, I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. And I to the fourth is 1. And we just got an I then, which is an I to the 1 is just an I. So you have to know that I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. I to the fourth is 1. Notice any power of 4. If you got I to the 8th, you're going to get a 1. I to the 20, you're going to get a 1, because 4 into 20 goes even 5 times with a remainder of 0. So number 3, I times 3 is 3i. I times negative 2i is negative 2i squared. Again, I times 3, 3i. I times negative 2i, negative 2i squared. But when you multiply, you add your exponents, so it's 3i. And if you wanted to, without writing all this down, you could go over on the side and do negative 1 there and put a 2, and just put a plus 2 there without writing many steps. For instance, negative 12i squared. If you worked it out on the side, I squared is negative 1. So you can just omit this step and put the plus 12 there, knowing that I squared is negative 1 without writing down the whole problem again. Your choice. Number 4, negative 6 times negative 6i times 2 is negative 12i. Negative 6i times negative 3i plus 18i squared. And again, notice I squared is negative 1, so that's 18 times negative 1, so that gives me negative 18. So the working of this could be done right here, as long as you put the negative 18. So real part first, imaginary part second. Number 5, we have to simplify the inside first. Always simplify the roots. Square root of 25 is 5. It's not an I because it's not negative. The square root of 18 is 9 times 2. So square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 2, can't do it. But because it's a negative, we have to have an I. But instead of putting the I behind, I put the I in front of the root. Now that that's simplified, 2I times 5 is 10I. And 2I times 3I root 2 is a negative 6I squared, negative 6I squared root 2. 10I is okay. And I squared is negative 1. So notice you got a negative 6. I squared is negative 1. So negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6 root 2. And real part first, imaginary part second. So there's no I here, so 6 root 2 is the real part, and 10I is imaginary. Number 6, we multiply. We get 4I times 4I is 16I squared. It's that multiplication. Now we're doing this one. 4 times 3 is 12. I times I squared is I cubed. We add our exponents. And I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. So that gives me negative 16 minus 12I. Done. And again, just remind you, I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. And the powers of 4 will always give me a 1 because it's I to the 0. And again, we multiply the monomial times the binomial, same as you did polynomials. If you like my video, click the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. More videos are coming. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video.